Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. Look, we got a guest today. And who is that, everybody? That's Bob Whitfield, Atlanta Falcons
Yes,
legend.
yes,
Welcome
yes.
Hey,
back,
Welcome,
Bob. How you
Bob.
been?
hey, good man. I got me and my big brother Bob behind me. So
Well, you're looking good though. You're looking good. Like the shirt, man.
yeah, I'm pretending. Since the digital era makes you can be all over the place, I want to feel like I'm in Hawaii, somewhere. So, and it's that time of year. It's summertime when training camps heat up. So you got to stay festive because them boys are out there working hard. So we
Yeah,
want to definitely see who's gonna make some headway going into camp.
yeah. Well. Look, William and I, we discussed last week um, some of the surprises, some what you look for around the league, what coaches that you think were, new coaches will have immediate success. Well, what are some of the things you or some of the teams you looking at doing training camp going into the season?
Well, I'm definitely looking at the home squad, and I think it's more because of what Arthur Smith did in Tennessee and how he established the run game, and that may benefit the current offensive line and the action that you have on the offense with Matt Ryan being a great play action quarterback. Then you go around the league, and then other areas. Who is it? I think it was Detroit, another area that you want to see if they have enough to lose a coach and a quarterback and rebuild. Other squads, the Chargers is where you still got young quarterback that has to take the helm. Now, how is he going to respond to a new coach? So it's all those variables that basically you want to see how they play out the preseason, because that's going to really tell you who's basically getting things clicking.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Bob, because we had you on prior to the draft, and I know you mentioned Sanat as being the guy maybe that you wanted the Falcons to select. What did you think about the Falcons draft overall, and what did you think about those offensive linemen, Jalen Mayfield and Drew Dalman?
Well, definitely, I like the pick with Julio's air replacement. You bring in a tight end guy that can look like a receiver, and he can do the things that you had Julio doing in space in the slot, front side blocking. I like that with Pitts. And then the Mayfield and the Dahlman kid is the depth that you need when you lose the anchor in your offensive line, which was the center in Mac. Now you're bringing in some fierce competition that Matt Hennessy has to face from a young upstart in Dahlman. But then you have a versatile Mayfield that can play tackle and guard, that because of some things that's going on, these young guys are going to have an opportunity to really perform in camp to show if they can be a rookie starter.
Well, speaking, I'm gonna give you some things here, Bob. That's very concerning to me when we talk about the Falcons' offensive line. You got left tackle Jake Matthews. Okay, he's solid. He's real solid. He's solid there. Then you talk about a Mayfield, who's a 21 guy or first year guy. Then you look at Hennessy, who's a second year guy. You look at Lindstrom, who's a two-year guy, and McGarry is on the PUP. And then you look at the rest of this group, they're all babies. They're
They're
all
young.
babies. So here's my thing. When you come in as a new head coach and says, hey, if you think we are rebuilding, you hired the wrong people. You hired the wrong two guys. But you didn't do anything in free agency to solidify this offensive line, that when you said Matt Ryan is my guy, we don't need to draft a rookie. But you put him in a situation where you have some babies protecting your franchise quarterback. So with your point, you better be able to run a football effectively.
Look, I'm glad you circled that home because all I was going to say is you better get 2,000 yards out that backfield, out of that guy, because when you make those type of calculations, what the onus is that we are not going to be a drop back team that's just constantly drop back, empty, 4 wides, 5 wides, spread, moving the ball around and making guys having to hold pass blocks.
Right.
No, they're going to action up front. And
Yeah.
the guys they got, even though they're young, McGarry and Lindstrom, if you get those guys healthy on the same side, they move people. They got some solid run blocking. So we know McGarry needs play action to be effective because he's going to lose more pass rush battles over time if he has to be first and, second and long, third and long all the time. So the idea is on first down, when teams know we're going to stack 8 in the box and they still coming at you downhill and getting 5 yards.
Right.
Yo, that's what to me is going to set the tone and the rationale is that your running backs and our O-line really establish the run. Because if they don't do that, it doesn't matter.
Well, William, this is what we talked about weeks ago when we were talking about the Julio Jones trade. And everyone was, was saying it was about money. It was a salary cap situation. Yeah, that was part of it. But this is what I feel now looking at this situation going into the training camp and this offensive line. They did him a favor because as you see, he still is one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL. And they did him a favor because they knew we're not going to throw the ball, Julio. You're not going to be productive. You're going to be upset. And plus, we're paying you a whole lot of money to catch 60, 70 balls. No. So they did him a favor by letting him go because we've known what this offense looked like in Tennessee, that he was bringing the same system with him and the same philosophy. So they're not going to be throwing the ball around. So you're going to even see Calvin Ridley's numbers go down a little bit. His catches may go down, but he may have more yards per catch and more touchdowns because of the play action game whatsoever, and he's going to be open more. So all the fans who think, we shouldn't have got rid of Julio whatsoever, but now if you look at it, and if you look at it strategically and in a football mind, they did Julio a favor by trading him.
Well, I think in the sense of camaraderie, the idea that Julio was your anchor, I think if you could have worked it out based on big body receivers on the outside that can run dig routes and all that, yeah, you had to draft Pitts to replace Julio that can be that big body to work in this scheme of offense. But I think the camaraderie side is where you will miss Julio. That's it. Just his presence will be missed. However, opportunity for others to step up. But I'm looking at the backfield.
Right.
There's no Gurley. So now you not only have young offensive linemen, but you was going to be rolling with a couple young backfield guys that wasn't really the load takers.
Right.
So how are you going to gel with that young line, putting in run block schemes, pass protection schemes, and making sure you're hitting on all cylinders so that camaraderie is truly gelling? I say the Falcons are in a good position because I still feel that they got enough key components with your left tackle being solid, the right side, they can compete. And then you got some key skill positions that, Calvin Ridley is untouchable, and this Kyle Pitts just showed me something. So,
well, we're still I still believe the Falcons have more tight ends than any other team in the league. So as you say, that's going to help the run game and help those tackles or whatsoever, because I think we got 12 tight ends on the roster.
Hey, look, you got to remember, T, they tight ends, they're used.
Yeah,
they give them different designations.
All that.
Fullback.
Yeah.
And then the one tight end's now a receiver because he's baby Julio.
Yeah.
What do y'all think is going to be the main position battle that we should look for in our training camp?
Well, if I can go first, I'm always going to go somewhere in the offensive line because those are the guys I like because we don't get to talk about them enough. But because of Matt Gono and his neck injury, I foresee a rookie starting somewhere between left guard and center.
Mm.
And I don't know which one, but one of those rookies between the Mayfield, the Dolmans, they're going to be having to start, or not having to start. They're going to earn a starting spot somewhere in there because of the fact that Gono, who's been experienced at left guard, comes into camp injured. So they'll be like, hey, someone in rookies,
Yeah.
don't haze him too tough. Don't don't make him fragile. Make sure he can play because I'm expecting one of those rookies to start.
Well, for me, I think it's the running back position. Who's going to be that main guy? Who's going to carry, 60, 70% of the rushing attempts for this football team? And I think that battle there is going to be one that's intriguing because of the fact that, each one of them saying, I can be the Derrick Henry of the Falcons team. You see what I'm saying? And because of the run scheme and run philosophy that Arthur Smith has, each back think they can be the next Derrick Henry. So I see that battle playing out during training camp and preseason.
Bob, are you comfortable with the Falcons backfield as they are now?
I'm never comfortable with the backfield until I'm comfortable with the offensive line. Because if you give me capable runners, I'm going to be the reason why they superstars.
Right.
So I feel that the line's play is going to really determine who shines. And I think that's the running back's responsibility too, is like, you want to get in with certain guys because you might know how they move on certain plays. So that, it's just, to me, it's the best part of football competition because of the fact that if you running with the third team as a running back, you and those guys got to pretend y'all in first team mode and be so accurate. So it's almost like the trust level extends to the third team guys, how they gel, because that's the only way that someone's going to actually look good. So it's just that now, because of that, it's just like, man, the camp should be pretty dang, spicy. 9-on-7 should be spicy. It should be very competitive, especially we got a lot of young players battling for starting jobs and big money.
Right. Well, the offensive line and the running backs got to be pretty much hip to hip. They got to be on the same page because they have to be able to see the same things to be successful. So even in protection, they have to be able to, that offensive line has to know that, hey, when I slide here, I know that back is going to feel and pick up that linebacker if he blitzes. So the more relationships you have with your offensive lineman and vice versa, the better you're going to be, not only in the running game, but in the passing game. And if you feel that you're individual as a running back and you always on that offensive lineman back talking about, hey, you need to make that block, blah, 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 this and that, guess what's going to happen? Okay, I'm not going to try as hard to get where I'm supposed to be because I don't like you. And you think that doesn't happen? That does happen.
Is that true, Bob?
I'd be like, I said, how does someone have a lapse? I said, hell, when they arguing with the man behind them. So, and you see it happen in games where it'd be like, what, they like they arguing in the huddle. They arguing in the huddle. Because I expect you to be here. Hey man, you're supposed to be in the B gap. How come you ain't in the B gap? Like it, right. And the idea is that's trust. Mm-hmm. And when you are not where you're supposed to be and I can't trust you going to be there, then I start playing out of my game based on the lack of trust. So now I'm hanging longer in this area. Now I'm messing up what I'm supposed to do. So it's really happened, not even from just this plain thought, like I hate this dude not being where he's supposed to be, but because he's not where he's supposed to be, now I'm compensating from him and messing up where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Exactly.
So then it gets all to the point where that's true trust. And if you could trust that man knows his assignment, knows what to do, if he knows the right stretch action on the run, he got the one-step cuts, if he got all that, if he know if we run a counter, where he gonna pick up the guard on the trap, he getting downhill protection, he sliding in the gap, gap, guard clap his hip, he know where he's going. You get all that, it's like an orchestra. It's just good music. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is the great challenge, because old quarterback, yeah, I said he old. He old.
Yeah.
Old quarterback and young puppies up front.
Right. Right.
And like, hey, let's see the leadership now. When Matt started getting hit, is he side-eyeing?
Let me ask you this, Bob, because I know I've done it a couple of times before. When you didn't trust that guy playing next to you or on the other side of you or whatever it is, have you ever went to your position coach and said, hey, we can't play with this guy, get him out of the game or get him out of the lineup? Have you ever done that?
Well, I always went to the player themselves first to be like, yo, can you, just because I'm like, if I'm out there on the field with you, then I feel like I'm the one responsible. And I just remember having to basically snatch him up in the locker room and be like, because now I took it upon myself to be like, yo, I'm playing next to you, dog. You're going to make me look bad, and that ain't going to happen. So before I even have to go, because when we're in a meeting, what's it, tell the truth?
The film don't lie. Yeah, the film don't lie.
The film don't lie. So when you're watching that film, you damn right. If coach don't say nothing, I'm gonna say it. Hey man, look at the hell that you doing here, man. What are you doing here, dog? Yeah, coach, you see what the heck he doing here, man? How come we supposed to be in this and he doing that?
Right.
But the idea is that I was always the nice one. They be like, please don't throw me under the bus, please. I was like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, then you better correct yourself. Don't have me have to correct you. And that's the level of trust when you have this many guys working together. Is like, you're supposed to see your own damn mistakes.
Right.
Don't make me have to point them out. You should know, I made that mistake. So we can talk through it. And that's that education. That's that you get there, you young, but you learn fast. But the thing you learn fast is how to work well with others.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, you know, for a receiver, if your partner on the field is not running the correct route, taking a safety out of the area, I can get hurt. So that's, or, you know, if the play is for me and he's jogging on a route and he's supposed to bring coverage towards him, I can get hurt, or I may not be productive. So like Bob says, before it even gets to the coach, you go to the player and you address it in a meeting by watching a film. Now, Bob, question. Do you think, I feel players today don't communicate like that because of the fact that they feel that you have no right to talk to me like that. I'm your equal, blah, blah, blah. I'm just as good. I get paid just as much, or I get paid more. And I feel like today's players are more quiet and just say, hey, we're going to just go how, you know, it just goes how it is. When my contract is up, I'll go somewhere else.
Everything you said is true, because as you see in the sport today, that what we saw with Olympic athletes, tennis athletes dealing with the mental pressures, or the identity issues, or the machismo. And I said, the brutal side of football is that the grown men essence in that locker room sometimes deal with that with violence. You're like, he chose violence. And when you hear about outbreaks in the team line, two players fighting on the same team, it's because one of them chose violence. Because you were trying to democratically, hey man, let's correct this, let's fix this, let's be bros and let's get it. But then if it's not happening and you seeing success going down the hill, and you go to check someone and he puts his chest up like he's a big bad rooster, hey, sometimes it clicks. And you punch that dude right in the and it's not always the biggest bad man. Sometimes it be the smallest dude that has to bite somebody, because the idea is like, yo, we are here to win. So we have to align our efforts in that thing so that you can't puff your chest out just on some, diva stuff. It's like, yo, if a correction is a solid correction. You get corrected, that's the whole point. And you like, T, you remember how humiliating a joint meeting session is when you have offense and defense in the room, because you really know that everybody in the team is seeing your performance
Mhm.
and seeing like, oh,
No, I didn't see that.
this is the reason
I didn't know
why.
he was doing that. Oh,
Yeah.
now you looking
he
now you looking at him in the going, are you really all in? Yeah.
he was like,
No,
oh, you was loafing on plays. Like,
we
so
could we
I
could have
think
scored
that's,
on that play. Hmm.
yeah,
Yep.
that's the jail that says, yeah, there might be some lumps.
Yeah.
People's feelings might get hurt. But if you get everybody going the same direction, everybody putting the same effort, same attention to detail, yo, if you ride that thing to the soup, you to the big game, you ride that thing up.
Right.
But it might take a couple of tussles to get there.
Who is you said that the thing about Julio was maybe what he provided in the locker room. Who's going to provide that for the Falcons now? Who can check some?
But
Who's the guy that can keep the Falcons in order in the locker room, or at least?
well, I know I read that, what is it, 4 guys left from the Super Bowl squad,
Mm.
but 2 of them is your guys, Dion and Grady J. So to me, even if they don't say nothing, they look the part. You see what I'm saying? And by them looking the part, at least from a performance thing that, yo, what level you got to perform with. And as far as if the locker room needs a vocal leader, I think in the first year's coaches thing, that's his mouth that's doing most of the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the coach, it's the individual coaches, because they got to establish their mark on the team and how it moves, and they're going to establish their influence on how that cohesion happens. So technically, all of this is going to boil down to Coach Smith, and he's going to be the front. So he's going to be the good man and the bad guy. So if he show up like Al Pacino, talk about saying the bad guy, you never see one like this again. You know that he got a locker room that he ain't controlling. You know what I'm saying? So he stand out there and be like, yes, I got these kids playing. Like, they rolling. Like, that's what we want to hear. So we only need to see one new face right now. Coach Smith, let them dudes just play football.
Exactly. And going back to the Julio Jones issue is this. What Julio brought to was this. On Sunday mornings, the opponent wanted to know, is Julio Jones playing? Because now they know, oh shoot, we got to be prepared for the big play. It could be a home run at any moment. Now the issue lies is this. Okay, we don't have to worry about that guy right now because he's not there. So who is that guy that teams are going to fear, especially offensively? I know defensively you mentioned too, but who is that guy they fear now when after that kick return and they're returning to the 35 and that offense comes jogging out on the field and that coordinator is sitting in the box? Who does he fear? We don't know yet. Everybody thinks it's going to be Calvin.
No. You a coach,
mm-hmm.
and you know what weapons, and you just talked about they 35 tight ends.
Yeah.
And if you go 2 tights, but one of them is Pitts.
Yeah.
If he's off the ball, Travis Kelce style.
Yeah.
He does create a mismatch.
Well, and that's what you have to right away after that first series. You have to see. You got to say, okay, we got to play base defense to understand and see what they're going to do. Because even though we've seen a little bit in preseason, you don't see the whole package. So now they got to come out in base and say, okay, let's see what they do on this first series. But we're prepared if we have to adjust. So that's the difference between college and the NFL is this. In the NFL, you have so much in your book, so much in your bag that you can come to the sideline and say, okay, hey, look, we're gonna go to this, we're gonna do this now. And in college, there's only a little bit that you can do because of the fact that they have classes and you only get 20 hours and all this stuff. But in the NFL, you have all this time from that morning to the evening to implement different schemes and different situations that you can adjust. So even with the Falcons offensively, I think personally, they're gonna come out and try to establish the run right away. I get that. But I feel if I'm the new offensive coordinator for the Falcons, I'm gonna show you Pitts detached from the line of scrimmage. I'm gonna show you Ridley engage, and I'm gonna show you a one backfield set and say, okay, how do you line up to this? That's what I'm gonna show them.
Terrence, I guarantee you, if we made a bet, that would be what their first formation they're gonna line up in. It's gonna be Hurst on attached, Pitts off, single back. That's the first, because that's their most fearful matchup.
It is.
That to me, I too, because even though I say run the ball, but nah, flex that big dude off. That's scary.
That's what's gonna scare people right away. Because if you put Pitts detached from the line of scrimmage, do you play him with a corner? No. Do you play him with the safety? No. Can you play him with a linebacker? No. So somehow you're going to have to bracket him or play some kind of double coverage over there because he's too big, too fast, and too strong for matchups. So exactly, that's what I would do on my first play of the game. I'll spread it out like that.
And now since we going from head coach to psychology of the GM, now you're saying if I get rid of Julio, I gotta get Pitts,
right?
Because he got to be the replacement void. He's cheaper technically overall. He's cheaper for the age factor. Right. Hey, I did a good solid. I just wanted more value from Julio.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think that Julio thing just drug on.
Too long.
But it just was a bad PR nightmare, but I don't think it was a bad football move.
No, I don't either. I don't think so either.
And it's like, I hate to say it, but hey, we already know what this business is about.
Yep.
And when you got high performance in this business and money tied together, hey, sometimes they want high performance for cheaper.
Yes. Exactly.
But you touched on a good point, T, because of the fact that the mind of the coach, the GM, but then also that player. Like you said, if you get a coach that got a big playbook and you got young players, how much can they learn fast? It limits what you can do.
Right.
I was going to ask you real quick, Bob. I asked Terrence before about the difference in training camp for him compared to nowadays. What's the big difference from when you were in training camp compared to what these offensive linemen are facing today?
Well, I just feel like for young offensive linemen, they don't have enough physical. So they're not hitting enough. And it's not that it's just every bang collision, but it's some crucial collisions that have to happen so that the skill build happens. And now you're asking with more we call pajama time practice. They don't do 2 padded practices in one day like our generation did. It is, how fast can you get these guys skillful in physical contact areas, crucial physical contact areas, when they don't get to train in physical contact. Yeah. So they have to be better practicing technicians. So it just says that, you expect maybe younger offensive linemen to struggle because of how much time they get on the field in pressure cooker situations in practice that they would need to build these skills to not struggle. So it's just that expectation. So it's like, man, but for the long haul, I wish I was playing under these practice guidelines.
20 years, right? 20 years.
Oh man, you still be playing.
Yeah.
The game would still be going for us old folks because, like, it was physical practices when we were playing. It was heavy hitting. So yeah, but Falcons got maybe a rookie starting, so especially with them.
Yeah.
What you got for us, Terrence?
I'm gonna leave you with this. I wanted to ask Bob the question. We'll get him next time on this. I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna try to put it as the best way that I can. You have a job to do. You have a responsibility, not only to your family, but those loved ones around you. And in the NFL today, COVID-19 is going to play a big part in how the season goes. And Bob and I, we've talked about this before. You don't want to be that player that's on that side of the locker room, that 1% on that side of the locker room, and that 99 looking at you saying, "Don't you get next to me? Don't you come next to me?" Because it ain't about football now. It's about my family my longevity and my health. But then football plays a part because now, hey, if you're not playing and you a starter, you affect the bottom line of what we do, from wins, financially, and all those things. And then it trickles down to my household. So what I'm saying is, really think about this, players. You got to make a decision. Either I'm going to get the shot or I'm going to be alienated and eventually not playing. So at the end of the day, hey, be safe out there, be cognizant to others, and be respectful.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to subscribe. Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. Y'all have a great day.
That's Bob. That's Bob. That's Big Bob right there. That's Bob right there. Right there.